Where Willy Went by Nicholas Allan, read by me, Sherry. This is an educational book to show that the stork did not bring the babies down from fluffy clouds. So, let's find out where Willy went. Willy was a little sperm. He lived inside Mr. Brown, just here. He lived with 300 million other sperm, and they all lived in Mr. Brown at the same address. At school, Willy wasn't very good at sums. 54 plus 135. 10? But he was very good at swimming. So was Butch. Call that swimming. Soon it would be time for the great swimming race. Willy practiced every day. But so did all the other 300 million sperm. And so did Butch. But there was only one prize, a beautiful egg. The egg was inside Mrs. Brown, just here. If there are 300 million sperm in the race, how many will you have to beat to win the egg? The teacher asked. 10, said Willy. He wasn't very good at sums, but he was very good at swimming. At last, the day of the great swimming race arrived. The teacher gave them all a pair of goggles, and a number, and 2 maps. The first map showed inside Mr. Brown. You are here. Follow arrows to treasure. The second map showed inside Mrs. Brown. This way, tummy, egg. So sperm, get those maps ready. The race is coming up. That very night, Mr. and Mrs. Brown joined together. The teacher cried, "Go!" And the great swimming race began. Go! And they're off. Come on, Willy! Willy swam with all his strength, but so did Butch. Willy swam as if his life depended on it. Yet so did Butch. Butch was catching up. How much further did Willy have to go? He didn't know. He wasn't very good at sums. But he was the best at swimming. Hurrah! The egg was lovely and soft. Willy burrowed all the way in until he disappeared. Then something strange happened. Something wonderful. Something magical. Something inside began to grow. It grew and it grew until it grew bigger than the egg. Then it grew some more until it grew bigger than Mrs. Brown's tummy. So Mrs. Brown's tummy grew bigger instead. And it grew and it grew and it grew until the baby was born. It was a little girl. They called her Edna. But where had Willy gone? Who knows? But when Edna grew into a little girl and went to school, she found she wasn't very good at sums. 54 plus 135. 10? Wrong. But she was very good at swimming. The end. So, what do you think happened to Willy? Where did he go? It's a very complicated process, but this was just a tiny look at what goes on inside the human body. And now, I've prepared a few questions for you. Are you ready? Do you remember where Willy lived? Pause the video if you need more time. He lived inside Mr. Brown, just here. Who did Willy live with? He lived with 300 million other sperm, all inside Mr. Brown, at the same address. What wasn't Willy good at? And what was he good at? Willy wasn't very good at sums, but he was very good at swimming. What did the two maps show? One map showed inside Mr. Brown, and the other map showed inside Mrs. Brown. What big event was coming up for the sperm? It was the Great Swimming Race. What was the one prize? It was a beautiful egg inside Mrs. Brown, just here. And who won the race, Butch or Willy? It was Willy! Hooray! Hooray for Willy! Now, let's see how a baby develops in a mummy's tummy. The sperm goes inside the egg and they unite. And then they form what we call cells, and the cells start to divide. And a very complicated process starts to occur as the cells grow and develop into a baby. And then the baby grows and grows until it's time to come out of mummy's tummy. And who did this sperm and egg develop into? They developed into Edna. And she was very good at swimming. The end.